We've been doing a podcast for like fucking 4 years and we don't know how to do this.
I will say, you have to give it to him. He is a really good host.
No, he is.
Yeah. So, I don't know. How should we start this? Do we have entrance music?
No, I don't have any of that.
Hold on a sec.
This is the first trial run.
We haven't actually really talked about the movie since we left the movie, so.
I watched it again when I got home. It was on. It was a fucking terrible version, but worked for me. So we're recording now.
Oh shit! All right.
I've been recording the whole time. No, I can edit this. That's what's great about not being live.
Right. If there's dead air, we can actually just go back and like cut it out.
Right.
I'm giving us some entrance music for this one. Hello, and welcome to Justin and the Sleaze.
Yes, sir.
That was definitely not planned at all.
No.
Yeah, so inaugural episode. We realized we didn't have an entrance, so we just winged that real quick.
Right.
Yeah, so you have me, Y2 Justin Credible over here, who is the Justin, and you have the douchebag on the other line, who would be the Sleaze.
Right. No sunglasses, too. This is how fucking serious I am. You know? I'm still smoking, but no fucking sunglasses.
And I apologize if I cough throughout the episode. I have pneumonia. So,
yeah.
Apparently I've had pneumonia since me and the Sleaze went down to Jacksonville, and I just said fuck it and didn't take care of it.
Hi, how are you? Fuck you. I'm trying to practice my sober speech.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you. That's all you need. That's all you need to get into a bar.
Hi.
If you walked in like, hey, how are you? Thank you. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't know. I want to drink.
Yeah?
No. They're like, hi, how are you? Thank you. And you get right in. And then you can fuck shit up. Fucking rookies.
Jesus. Fucking ridiculous.
Which was like 9 fucking months ago.
Yeah, dude, it was like July.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was worried that it was like emphysema or asthma or something like that, so I did the whole just ignore it and pretend like it's not their thing. And then I haven't been able to sleep for like 2 weeks, so.
You know what the worst thing is I just went to get a physical, I don't know, probably 2 months before Jacksonville. And my lung capacity is at like 98%.
I don't know how.
I don't either. Yeah, and I fucking tell my doctor constantly, I'm like, can you just tell me it's bad so it forces me to quit smoking? Because, like it just made me think of that when you thought you had emphysema in fucking Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You know? And they're just saying, it's pneumonia. So you're like, fuck it, I'm going to smoke.
Yeah, I'm still smoking. Well, I was still smoking when I thought I had emphysema. I'm still smoking now that I have asthma.
Right. You're a fucking trooper.
I'm using albuterol to help me sleep at night. A little inhaler that expired like 3 years ago. So
Justin's now on steroids, so watch out.
Yeah, I am on prednisone steroids. I take
Right.
5 pills a day. Then it weans down to 1 pill. But unlike Barry Bonds and Kurt Schilling and Mark McGuire, I'm just gonna gain weight because I'm not gonna work out while using it. So. That's why I hate when people say, steroids is cheating. No, it's not. It doesn't put the muscle on you. You still have to do the work. It just helps you heal quicker.
Yeah. Not that we'll throw in bits and pieces from everything out there. We're not going to focus on like one thing. Mostly we're going to do like movies and shit like that, shit that we like. But I just wanted to mention, did you see the article where Jim Ross said that all athletes should be on fucking steroids? Not to throw this into wrestling, but he literally said that.
But I agree with that.
Right. Well, I do too, but you don't come out and fucking say that if you're Jim Ross.
Well, no. I will say that I agree with that for any sport that doesn't have physical contact. So, like, not for MMA because, like, you could fucking kill somebody if you get too strong.
Right.
Or, like, boxing or even football because you're tackling people. But that's kind of like flag football right now anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
I wouldn't do it for hockey either. People would fucking die. You know?
Imagine roid rage on hockey. They just take off their skate and just start murking people.
Yeah, that could get fucking serious. Seriously. So, me and Justin went opening night to The Rise of Skywalker. We were one of the first to see it. We didn't want to jump on and give any spoilers away, but I think most of the people that wanted to see it probably saw it. Even though they're saying it had a soft open at like $200 million and like 300 plus like worldwide.
Actually, yeah, that's not that great because I think Force Awakens was like what 225 domestic opening. Yeah, like so we had to get general admission tickets when we went, and we were like 20 minutes early. We thought that was going to be late, like 20 minutes early because when we went to go see not the Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, we waited in like a line full of like 80 to 100 people. Right. This one, it was like 20 minutes before him and walked in. There was like 10 people in there. I was like, shit, that's not good for the box office.
Yeah, even the theater, it wasn't like fully packed. You know what I mean? Like it was really surprising because this is honestly the sixth one I've been to in the theater. You know, that I can remember. I went to Empire and Jedi, but I was a fucking child.
Yeah.
And every one of them was a huge fucking deal. And this just really, it was disappointing.
Yeah, like so for like the Force Awakens, I keep saying the Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. Like I went there and like my Jedi robe and stuff like that. I decided not to do it this year because, like I mentioned when we went, I was so nervous that if I like wore something Star Wars, some asshole walking out would give me a spoiler. So I kind of want to go incognito.
Right.
But yeah, there was no one there to give me a spoiler, so I wouldn't even have to worry about that. Like I went to so the Thursday night opening for Frozen 2. I went to go see Ford v Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went in there, the entire movie theater was packed with kids dressed as like Elsa and Anna and like Olaf and stuff like that. And like it was a big deal. Like it was like an event. I kind of thought that's what they were going to do for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And we didn't even see the movie that late. We saw it at what, 9 o'clock?
It was 10 o'clock, yeah.
Oh yeah, 10 o'clock showing. But it's not like it was a midnight showing. Like a 10 o'clock showing is kind of prime time, especially on a weekend. So,
well, that's the thing that surprised me too. It's not like we went at midnight. You know, the Last Jedi, we went. I think it was later, wasn't it? I think it was like 11 o'clock or some shit.
Yeah, because I was pissed because we went to your brother's house after to do the review, and I was like falling asleep.
Mm. Yeah, that was tough.
So late.
Right.
But yeah, overall, what was your thoughts on the movie?
I told Justin off air. I actually went home and watched it again. I'm not going to tell you how. It's magic. It's a good movie. It was a beautiful looking movie. It was an okay like goodbye. I think I have to see it a couple of more times to really give a thing, but I think like an initial review for me is I expected more. I think for this movie, more so than The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, there were so many fucking like rumors and fucking Hayden Christensen and, you know, all that shit. And I think I was preoccupied by waiting for the cameos and everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, we did get voiceovers, which were cool. And, you know, you did see Luke and you saw Leia. And I don't know. It didn't, for me personally, it didn't wrap everything together like they said it was going to.
Yeah, for me, it left more questions than answers.
Right.
And it kind of like, I don't want to say like took a shit on the lore, but it kind of retroactively like negated or conflicted with the movies that came beforehand.
Yeah.
Like I was really enjoying the movie up until this is spoiler review, so we can go with spoilers. I was really enjoying the movie up until Harrison Ford and Kylo Ren scene, because there's no reason that Kylo Ren should have had like a redemption arc. He spent the entire movie just killing motherfuckers. He spent the entire 3 movies just killing everyone that Rey knows. Like in the last movie, and the not the Force Awakens, the Last Jedi, like he killed like 90% of the Resistance fighters. When they were when Laura Dern was distracting them.
Right.
Like he killed like 90% of the Resistance. Like he's killed millions of people, like probably millions of people under his charge, and then he gets a redemption arc just because our beloved princess just says his name Ben, and then he has like a flashback of, because he's not a Force ghost. Harrison Ford wasn't a Force ghost. It was just like an hallucination or something that he was having.
Yeah.
With Harrison Ford, with Han Solo. But yeah, that from that point on, I really did not enjoy the movie. But yeah.
Yeah, but if you really think about it, I mean, the same arc happened with Vader. Vader killed thousands, if not millions, of people too. You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't the same kind of arc, because Vader just killed one dude and he came back. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like the Harrison Ford cameo in general. I didn't see the point of it, you know, anything like that.
But so the reason why I don't consider the Kylo Ren mirroring Vader thing kind of like a relevant point is because with Vader, it was like a 2-movie arc of him being redeemed. Essentially, it started with Empire, and they laid the groundwork and just strung it through the entirety of Return of the Jedi. And then the tipping point was the fact that the Emperor was killing his son, like in front of him,
Right.
which snapped him out of it. This is just Kylo Ren was about to kill Rey, and the only reason he didn't is because Leia said Ben.
Yeah.
That's it. So it just didn't feel earned. Like if they did it a different way, I would have understood it. Especially with what they had in the fuck. in the last movie, I keep wanting to say The Force Awakens. No, in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Especially how they left it off in The Last Jedi. It would have been such a better movie for Rise of Skywalker if they just had him be the new supreme leader.
Yeah.
Which they didn't even do that, because he didn't even have a chance to be the supreme leader because, oh hey, the Emperor is back and he's been in charge the entire time.
Well, that's the thing too. That's what sort of annoyed me about this movie. There was a little bit of annoyance because it's like Palpatine just pops out of nowhere. You know what I mean? They really didn't delve that fucking deep into it. And Kylo Ren is just fucking, he's like sort of on board, you know, in the beginning. Where it's like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. He was the supreme leader, you know what I mean? And all that shit. I would consider Palpatine a threat, you know, to my
they
supremeness.
literally said he considered him a threat, and that's why he was going there just to kill him. And then he's like, no, you're not going to kill me because I'm going to give you an army. Bitch, I could just kill you right now and just take it. It's sitting right there.
Shit. That's what I'm saying. And then the whole Rey fucking Kylo thing, it's like, okay, they flirted a little bit in The Last Jedi with, like, maybe they could be a couple or some shit. Obviously, they kissed at the end of this before he fucking bit it. But they didn't really develop that at all. You know what I mean? If he was going to be redeemed, I don't think the whole, like, just Ben thing should have been the redemption. I think it should have been that he had feelings for fucking Rey. Call me corny. That would have made a fucking better redemption.
Yeah, and I don't understand why Rey is so hell-bent on just trying to bring back Ben Kenobi and kill Kylo Ren. Because because she didn't know Ben Kenobi. All she has known is Kylo Ren and seen everything this motherfucker's done. She's not related to him. He's killed her friends,
Right.
and she didn't know him back when he was Ben Kenobi. So I keep saying Ben Kenobi. Sorry, Ben Solo. So I don't know why they were so hell bent on them having a romantic connection, since the only thing that would lend itself to a romantic connection is the fact that she saw him shirtless once in a vision.
Yeah. Yay. That's like you killing like my sister and then saying, you know what? I've changed my ways, and I'm like high-fiving you. Like, it doesn't make fucking sense. Like, she watched him kill his own father and then go on a killing spree.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of fucking person does that really paint for fucking
And
Rey?
how many times did he try to kill her too? Like,
Right. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Vader too, you could say in a sense, was like going after Luke, and even beyond the fucking movies, there were books about it and all this shit. But I don't think it was in the same type of vein. You know what I mean? I don't think that there was ever really intention that Vader was going to kill Luke. I don't think deep down he had an intention that he was going to kill him. You know what I mean? Where it's like Kylo wanted to kill all these motherfuckers. Like, he was, in that sense, way more crazy than fucking Vader.
so have you watched like the Fast and Furious and stuff like that?
A little bit.
All right, so you know how Jason Statham's character kills Han?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they just completely forgive him, and now he's a buddy cop with The Rock.
Right.
So this reminds me of that, but in Star Wars, where you're supposed to actually take like the universe kind of seriously, instead of being a joke movie like the Fast and the Furious. It's like, oh no, that's fine. We're just gonna forgive and forget. But it makes sense of the Fast and the Furious because who cares? This is Star Wars. It's supposed to be taken with a little more like integrity. So
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not a baby that needs an explanation through all movies and every fucking answer questioned. Every question answered. But at the same time, it's like there was no explanation as to what the fuck happened to Palpatine. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been a real quick conversation. I got thrown down the tube. This is what happened. Yada, yada, yada. That's it. The Snoke thing still wasn't fucking explained. I mean, you see the fucking clones and all that horse shit, but there was no explanation. So he was a pointless fucking character to me throughout this trilogy. Like, if they would have explained more of how he became a puppet, or just answer some of that shit. There's a point to, like, answering questions to make sense, or answering questions because you want it a certain way. You know what I mean? The storytelling, I'm deathly surprised by J.J. Abrams. Just, it wasn't satisfying to me.
yeah, especially because the entire movie revolves around, it's either a 16-hour, 18-hour clock of when the Emperor is gonna unleash his army and destroy the rest of the resistance.
Right.
And make like a Sith order. So it's like a race against the clock, and there's way too many convenient things that happen throughout that don't make any sense. It's just, hey, this will be convenient if this happens, so it's going to happen. So the opening crawl, which I will miss going forward. I got goosebumps just by knowing it was going to be our last crawl.
Yeah.
But the opening crawl is such a genius thing, storytelling wise, because it gives you the opportunity to put in important but not really worthy of screen time exposition.
Yeah.
So they didn't use that properly at all this time because the dead speak. That's the first line that you see on the crawl. So it tells you that Palpatine's come back. It's telling you that Kylo Ren's going after him, and that Rey is doing her training.
Yeah.
In that crawl, they could have taken half the movie that we saw and just put it in the crawl, saying the Emperor is back, Ray is looking for the those triangles, the not holograms,
Holocron.
holocron. Thank you. Ray's looking for these holocrons to get to him. Blah blah blah. Like half of the movie should have been just the exposition in the opening crawl,
Right.
because we didn't need to see like the treasure hunt and stuff like that. So
No. And the thing is, too, is the more I think about like The Last Jedi, which I've watched a couple times now, I can appreciate it more. But at the same time, it seems like a standalone movie. You know what I mean? The only thing that really tied it together was the ending from Force Awakens with Luke and all that shit. And other than that, it was a standalone movie. What they should have done is they should have left you with a cliffhanger, just like Empire Strikes Back. That's how trilogies work. They didn't leave you with a fucking cliffhanger. They could have hinted at the end of Last Jedi that Palpatine was still around. You know what I mean? Then you fast forward to when we went to the movies, the crawl idea that you were saying, and then, okay, cool. It sets the fucking pace for it. All of a sudden, it was just like, now I know for months and months they're like, oh, he's coming back to play Palpatine, and you knew it was coming back, but just think of it in the movie sense. You know, The Last Jedi should have had some it could have at the end just had a cryptic message that you heard Palpatine. End of movie. You know what I mean? Then it sets you up for this one.
Well, see, the only way you could do that is if they had a consistent through line, like a consistent story planned out from the beginning, which they didn't.
Right.
So they had JJ come in for Force Awakens. They had Rian Johnson come in for The Last Jedi, and then it was supposed to be Colin Trevorrow having the third movie.
Right.
I don't know if he would have done Rise of Skywalker, but like the third installment of the trilogy was supposed to be Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah. And I think is the problem too, is that George Lucas he consistently wrote the prequels, consistently wrote or was over the shoulder of the writers for the original trilogy. And you're right. J.J. Abrams has been saying left and right, like, oh, well, this was always the setup and this and this. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Because if Palpatine...
Sorry.
No, if Palpatine was always going to be the big baddie, there would have... I don't know. I'm not a fucking movie maker or anything, but it makes sense to me. You would have had some kind of cryptic shit at the end of The Last Jedi that says, oh, fuck, Palpatine's still around.
Exactly, and then so JJ is on record saying that Rey's parents were supposed to be nobodies. That was the plan the entire time. When people were giving Rian Johnson shit about it, he's like, no, that was my plan too. If I was to do the entire trilogy myself, that's what I was going to do. He was on record stating that. But then he did an entire 180 on that and then made her a Palpatine.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like this. So for Marvel, they have Kevin Feige running the entire ship, and then like he'll tell the individual directors that they hire where like he wants the story to go, and they would have to write a movie based off that.
Right.
Kathleen Kennedy did nothing nothing like that. She just hired different directors and said, "Hey, tell the story you want to tell," which usually I'm all on board for. But like you said, it seems like The Last Jedi was a singular movie. You had The Force Awakens, and then this is the actual sequel to The Force Awakens.
Right.
So
and there's a lot of fucking shit that's missing in between.
Yeah. Like I think that The Force Awakens is the Force Awakens is my favorite out of these three. The Last Jedi is an amazing movie, but I don't like it as a sequel to The Force Awakens.
Right.
People call me crazy, but I walked out of Solo enjoying it more than The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Even though I 100% agree that The Last Jedi is a better movie, like Solo felt like a Star Wars movie. Obviously, it was flawed, but it was just a straight up good time for me. I had more fun. I had more enjoyment walking out of that movie than The Last Jedi. Even though I agree that The Last Jedi is a better movie, this one, it's I walked out not overly thrilled, and it wasn't even a great actual movie. Like, you said you think it was a good movie, it was well shot. I agree it was well shot. There was a lot of great set pieces, beautiful fucking set pieces. But like story wise, there's a bunch of stuff that contradicts itself. It doesn't make fluid sense. The only good thing about it is the pacing and the actual shots throughout the movie. But like story wise, it's so convoluted and doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And one of the most disappointing parts, right? Because you always think about, okay, this is the end, right? And my thing is well, who's going to die?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one of the things they were hinting about, and maybe this is just me being a fanboy or whatever the fuck, or reading into, writing my own fucking movie, was the hint is that C-3PO was going to sacrifice himself. Now, when I say that, think about that. 3PO has been there since the beginning. Him and R2 have basically been the narrative of all of these movies. We barely saw R2 up until this movie, and you barely saw him in there. So that took away a shit ton of Star Wars feelings. And then B, in the movie, it seems like 3PO is going to make a sacrifice. Okay? And you're like, okay, there it is. And that would have hit you, and it would have meant something. 2 seconds later, they upload his fucking brain again. And it's just like, what was the fucking point of that?
It was. I guarantee you that entire like subplot with 3PO was just for that shot in the trailer.
Yeah, and that's all it was.
Because that trailer shot like gave me all the feels.
Yeah.
In the movie, it didn't translate at all.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people after the trailer saying, well, he's looking around at his friends, and these people haven't really been close to him. And I agree, well, like 100%, but it's worse when you see it in the film.
Yeah.
It gives you nothing. It doesn't. He's not saying anything to R2. He's not saying anything to Chewie. Those are his fucking friends. These guys have been around for 6 years, and they've been off doing their own shit.
Well, yeah, no, I'm super okay with if he was gonna sacrifice himself and he looks around at the people and like, I want to say goodbye to my friends one last time. I'm super okay with him doing that to the new cast of characters because 6 years is a decent amount of time, but like it's 6 years like in the trenches, dude. Like it's 6 like grueling, life-threatening years. So like a strong bond would have been built throughout that 6 years. So I would have gave him leeway if they landed that correctly, but I don't think they landed that moment correctly.
No, so. and it goes with just the relationship with the new 3, if you will. Finn, Poe, and Rey. It's like you got little bits and pieces, in the other 2 movies. But that's one of the biggest things that people are commenting about. Because when you had Luke, Leia, and Han, you felt on screen that they were close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't get to that point with these 3 up until this movie. So it doesn't make sense. Because there was no real building where they lost that opportunity, because that should have happened in The Last Jedi to me. You know what I mean? That they should have built more friendships. And if 3PO is sitting there saying, I'm taking a last look at my friends and shit, they should have built a tad bit of his camaraderie with them in The Last Jedi, to me. This goes again to the Star Wars, you got to read a book outside the movie and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, so like I said, like the 3PO thing, I would have been super okay with, because like you would have to sit like in the moment. It would have worked if they actually built that moment correctly, instead of just if he was going to put himself in like life-threatening danger, instead of just having his memory wiped, and there would have been actual stakes to it. That moment would have played perfectly for me. Like even if they didn't build up the 3PO to the new character relationship more than they already did. But like I said, I really enjoyed like the first 45 minutes of this movie until the whole redemption arc for Kylo Ren thing popped in.
Right.
I actually 100% disagree with you, because I think the thing that the movie did very well, like the strongest thing, is that it's the first time that all 3 characters are together, and I think that they wrote those scenes and they had that chemistry going so well. That's actually probably the only reason why I enjoyed the movie. For the first 45 minutes, and then they go they get separated and stuff like that again. But like in the Last Jedi, you have Rey by herself, you have Finn Finn with Rose, and then you have Poe with Leia and Laura Dern's character. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name right now.
Haldo.
Yes, thank you. So you had all three of them separated. So this movie did a really good job, in my opinion, bringing them together and actually making it feel like they had a real connection. So that's like the one of the things I want to give the movie credit for.
No, I agree. I like the chemistry between them in this one. I just wish that we would have seen more, in the other ones. No, I did enjoy that. You could tell they were friends, and you felt that in this movie. I just wanted to see it, a little more, especially in The Last Jedi.
Oh, I 100% agree. Sorry, I thought when you were talking about it before, you were talking mostly about this movie rather than the connection between the three movies. All right,
no.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, because that's one of the things I hold against The Last Jedi, story wise, is that I don't think that Rian Johnson cared about most of the characters besides Rey and Kylo Ren, and then obviously Leia and Luke. I don't think he wrote Poe or Finn, did Poe or Finn justice. He just had to put them in there because they're in there in the first movie. So,
yeah, if you're going to focus, in my opinion, if you're going to focus on the old actors, I think it should have been this movie just as a stamp of, okay, we're done. Instead of The Last Jedi. That goes back to the whole character development and all that camaraderie shit and all that. That should have been, the first two movies should have been so focused on the new characters than maybe in this one. Yeah. Even with Han Solo dying in The Force Awakens, or you could even kill Luke off, but have all the focus on the old one in the last episode. I don't know.
What did you think about Leia in this movie? How did you think that worked for you? How did that feel?
That was good. I'm amazed that they actually took old footage and made it actually work. Because it worked perfectly in this movie. Yeah, the feels were there because obviously she passed away. I think it was more so like that. But I don't know. They could have. I don't know. This whole thing, they could have done more. You know what I mean? They could have. I wanted a Force Ghost fucking party at the end of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so hold on a sec.
Oh, you shut yourself off.
Well, no, I know. I meant to put the mute on when I was coughing.
Oh.
So yeah, I think they did a good enough job with Leia. They did a good enough job with what they had. You could tell that her scenes weren't meant to be in this movie, though. So I was appreciative every time she was on there. I got the feels, but it didn't really work in the movie for me as like a storytelling plot, storytelling wise or plot wise, because it just seemed out of place. I kind of wish they just didn't have her in the movie, to be honest with you. They definitely could have not killed her off, obviously, because that would have been shitty. But they could have said that Leia was relaying messages from home base for the Resistance or something like that. Like have her off screen, but still reference her throughout the movie, saying, "Oh, Leia just contacted us. We have to go." Blah 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 blah. Because it didn't really play right throughout the film.
They could have done the real rough angle. The opening scene, she dies. That's the end of it.
Yeah,
you could have done that. Would have pissed so many people off, but it would have saved you a lot of time to fill in some other shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But yeah, I would have either just had her off screen, not really in the movie, but still have some sort of a presence, or recast it. I would have been 100% okay recasting it because you'd have to talk to Billy Lord about this, but I would think that Carrie Fisher would have wanted her legacy as Leia to actually be what it was meant to be. And I don't think she would have had an issue recasting someone in their role. I would feel horrible for the person who got the role, because there's no way anyone's going to give her any slack if they recasted our princess. But yeah, either have her off screen or recast. Those are the two choices I would have done.
Yeah, or if they could do the CGI like Tarkin, they could have gotten away with that. You know, not her in Rogue One. It was terrible. But even the CGI they did of her young in this was pretty. That was a lot better than Rogue One.
No, I thought it was terrible. I thought
you thought it was bad.
Yeah, so I don't know how CGI works, obviously, like what goes behind it, but I think they did Luke very well. Like, he looked a little too young, but I think he came out very well. She really looked like a video game character in that moment. I think it just might be because they didn't have, the live Carrie Fisher there to work off of, and they had to work off archival footage. But yeah, I thought she looked terrible when they did the flashback scene.
Maybe I saw it quick. I'm gonna have to look at it again.
Yeah,
maybe it's just her. All due respect, but maybe it's just her. Maybe she's got a face that just can't CGI correctly.
Yeah, no. They luckily didn't linger on the shot of her, because then it would have looked even worse. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Like that's bad. That was like Time Splitter 1 video game quality right there.
You know what? Speaking of Leia, one of the things that did bridge The Last Jedi in this one is that you saw a hint, obviously when she was doing the Mary Poppins shit, of her having force powers, and that translated into this movie. You know what I mean? I just wish I saw more of those fucking tie-ins. Yeah,
so another thing is, I've read a lot that ever since the Disney acquisition happened, the Star Wars acquisition happened with Disney. So all the comics and all of the actual books that have come out since are supposed to be canon, right? So Bloodline is supposed to be canon,
right?
So
terrible book.
Yeah, I still have not read Bloodline, but doesn't her finishing her Jedi training with Luke, like that scene that we're talking about, the flashback scene, doesn't that contradict what happens in Bloodline?
Yeah, and that's where this whole, you could tell just from the top at this point, and I'm totally with George Lucas with some of the shit I've read after, his sale of the company and all that, just his fucking aggravation. Because it's like there's not one central or two central people that are in control of this. And I'm hoping, and rumor has it, Justin, is that Kathleen Kennedy is supposed to be stepping down, and they're literally going to give the keys to Feige, Filoni, and Favreau.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And they're going to be like, these are the storylines. They're going to be the three-headed fucking George Lucas. Which I'm good with, because if you've seen The Mandalorian, that's a fucking Star Wars fucking production.
Yes, it is, minus the Bill Burr episode. Sorry, Bill, but that episode was horrible.
Oh, I hated the Twi'lek in that. The fucking girl with the things there, she was annoying as shit, like hissing at people.
Sounded like she was from Jersey?
Yeah, fucking terrible. Yeah, so it's like there's no cohesive timeline, no storyline. Like George Lucas had his hands in everything, the video games, the fucking books, the action figures. He was the all say in all of that shit. And Disney doesn't have that right now. It's supposed to be Kathleen Kennedy, but she's not controlling this like that.
Yeah, so before we get into a whole Kathleen Kennedy shitfest, I'm just going to give her credit where credit's due. These movies have made billions of dollars. It's reinvigorated the actual franchise because everyone thought the franchise was dead after the prequels.
Right.
And I think she's done a good job in getting it back into the public consciousness, even though I don't think she did a good job setting up the through line throughout these three trilogy movie through this trilogy. And she also has had a great producing career outside of Star Wars. She's one of the best producers of all time. Totally dropped the ball with this, though.
Yeah, I think the intention was there. I think the execution was not as good. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck happened. I don't know if it's Bob Iger. I don't know if it's, any other facets of that. The egos of the fucking writers and directors, and I just think she lost control. I just think that she simply lost control of this.
Well, it's so apparently it's really difficult to work with them because they want to do things a certain way, but then if there's any little hiccup, they run scared. So, like Lord and Miller were supposed to do Solo. I really want to see the Lord and Miller cut of Solo, and they got pulled off that.
Right.
Like I said it earlier, Colin Trevorrow, the director of Jurassic World and Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, he was supposed to do the third, the Rise of Skywalker movie. They pulled him off that because Book of Henry was a piece of garbage. Apparently, I haven't even seen it. But the fact that that movie was so bad, they didn't want him to direct the third Star Wars movie. If they just stuck to their original plan, and for this trilogy had J.J. Abrams, Ryan Johnson, and then Colin Trevorrow tell, even if it's three separate stories, the last Jedi felt like a separate story from The Force Awakens, I would have been super okay with I would have rather that than what we got with The Rise of Skywalker, because it just contradicted itself. So if we got a third movie right now, even if there wasn't a super good through line, at least it would have been kind of a separate movie on its own again.
Yeah. So
I would have rather have them go through that path than the path they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it needed George Lucas during this. I read that he was a consultant during this movie, but obviously there wasn't a lot of his touches in there.
Not at all.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. I think they got overwhelmed what Star Wars is. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be easier. Me and a friend were talking about this. One of the guys that went with us. I think it's going to be easier when they get away from the Skywalker stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? They have plans to do the Old Republic shit. They're already hinting at castings, and you saw it with the Mandalorian. It's in the vein of it, but there's no Skywalkers. There's no, I think once they get away from that shit is holy to people. The original trilogy, are fucking people my age and your age. They're like, this is the holy grail, so you can't fuck this up. But I think once they start doing stuff outside of the Skywalker saga, I think it's going to give them a lot more freedom. Obviously, you can see it in The Mandalorian. They're giving them freedom left and right because you're not fucking with the Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
My
second or third favorite Star Wars movie is Rogue One. Rogue One, I think, is an amazing fucking movie.
And that's what I'm saying.
It has nothing to do with the Skywalker saga except for the very end.
Yeah,
where you see Leia and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't wait for them to start doing these films outside of the actual Skywalker saga, because there's so much lore out there that I want directors to be able to create their own canon. So JJ came in and there's already canon previously, from episodes 1 through 6. So you have to respect all that, obviously. So it doesn't give you the entire leeway that you would want as a creator to create your own project, your own vision. So right. I look forward to having someone come in. I actually really want to see an Ava DuVernay Star Wars film. I think that would be super interesting.
Yeah.
But they can work on they can pull whatever lore they want from Legends, and make that their own canon without having to worry about anything that happened prior.
Right. And the best decision they could do is not go into the future, you go into the past.
Yes,
this is a movie society where there's all these fucking prequels and all that shit. That keeps you away from the Skywalker stuff too, because they're not doing it in The Mandalorian, they're not really mentioning Luke, and fucking all them people. But at the same time, if you do the Old Republic, we're talking thousands of years before. You have free reign. You know, you're not going to have these fucking fanboys saying, "Oh, well, geez, fucking, you can't do that." You can do whatever you want because you're making up the timeline at that point.
Exactly. Like you technically don't even need to say what time it is. Like just make a story.
Yeah.
You can have it be like during the same time as like The Force Awakens without actually like referencing anything that's happening over there. Because it's a huge fucking galaxy.
Right.
That whatever's happening there might not be affecting what's happening with your story. So you can have like planets be blown up fucking thousands and thousands of light years away, and it's not affecting you whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's what they need to do. They need to go into another section of the galaxy. You know, like people were saying, "Oh, well, they didn't go back to," you know, I even heard people saying, "Well, they didn't go back to Hoth during these sequels." But you know how big a fucking galaxy is? There's billions of fucking stars and even more planets around them. You know, they have light speed and all that happy horse shit. But just because something's happening over here doesn't mean it's happening over there. You know, in a lot of senses.
They went back to Endor, so.
Yeah. But it's like, I want to see new shit. I don't want to see a Tatooine. I don't want to see a fucking planet that looks like Tatooine. I don't want to see any of the old shit. I want something fresh. And that's why it's great that they're doing like the Old Republic stuff. Because A, they could delve into like the beginnings of, you know, the Sith and the Jedi. And B, you don't necessarily have to be in that home area of the Hoths and the Tatooines and the Endors. You know?
Yeah, like honestly, I don't even need any. I don't even need Sith or Jedi right now.
No.
Like, there's so much other shit out there that you can do besides dark side and light side. Like just give me an original story. You know what? Give me. They'll never do this because it's Disney. But I really want like a hard R horror Star Wars movie.
That's what I want.
I think that'd be fucking amazing.
Did I ever tell you my idea for a fucking Star Wars movie?
Nope, but I'm sure you're going to tell me right now.
So, in a galaxy far, far away, right, I was reading years ago that in comparison, right, in the old EU, in comparison to us, the events of the original trilogy would have taken place in our times about 150 years ago. Somebody made this assumption.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So here's how you make a Star Wars movie that's fucking exciting and new and all this shit. Hold your fucking your britches. So, the movie takes place on Earth. All right? Somehow Jedi or Sith or whatever the fuck is in the future, because we're talking in, you know, our time now. So we're talking like 200 years after fucking, you know, even the rise of Skywalker. Somehow, maybe it's like because there's a book called Outbound Flight that basically Palpatine was making during the Empire. He was making a voyage out to what they call wild space. And eventually he wanted to send people to another galaxy. So you could take that idea and somehow Jedis come here, right? And the entire fucking, I don't even know what the story would be about. That maybe there's somebody here that's force sensitive. You know what I mean? Because you have telekinesis people and all that shit. So you could do that. But we're talking like Jedi fights and shit like in New York City. You know, on Earth.
So kind of like Wes Craven New Nightmare, but for Star Wars?
Right.
Okay.
Where it's fucking like real life shit, Justin.
All right. I think that would be cool. I think that would be a cool Disney Plus thing to do.
Right.
Because like you know how they're doing like the What If series from Marvel?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be like a super cool like one shot, maybe like a 3-episode miniseries, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It'd be fantastic. I only have the idea. I just need somebody to write it.
And then once Kathleen Kennedy leaves, pitch it to the new guy who runs the joint.
Right.
There's no way she would take the swing on that one.
You could even there's a couple of stories you could do. You could have like a group of Jedi, you know, leave that galaxy. They end up here, right? They find a force sensitive human. They bring him back to the galaxy. Now, he's a rough and tough type of dude like me, right? With the F words and the what the fuck is this? Wouldn't you love to see that in a Star Wars movie?
Sleaze in space? Yeah, I'll see that. Yeah, well, actually, I think you just technically pitched Galaxy Quest, but instead of a spoof on Star Trek, it's going to be Star Wars.
Right. We have the serious one where they come to Earth and shit happens on Earth, but then on the other side, you could have a comical one where you get like a very mouthy, fucking guy that goes to the galaxy far, far away, and he's not all proper.
Yeah, send Kevin Hart down to Tatooine and see what happens.
Right, like a Kevin Hart.
Pod racing.
What's that movie? No. What's that movie with fucking Lawrence there, where he works at a like a medieval castle, and then
Black Knight.
Black Knight, like that.
I have that DVD somewhere around here.
Right, that movie's great.
Yeah, that movie's fucking awesome.
So 2 things we're saying, folks. One, they need to make hard, maybe not a hard R, but maybe some boobs. An R-rated Star Wars, and then a comical Star Wars. And I'm talking straight comedy.
Yeah, like, I don't need hard R, but, like, I want, like, hard horror. Like, I want, like Wes Craven, New Nightmare, but Star Wars would be fucking awesome.
With boobs.
With boobs, yeah.
Right.
I'll live with side boob. Like, if you just give me side boob, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Disney makes R-rated movies. I don't know why this is a problem.
Disney does, but they don't release it under the Disney banner.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like, because right now they own Fox Searchlight, so they'll probably release that under a Fox Searchlight banner, but they wouldn't want to release a Star Wars movie under the Fox Searchlight banner.
Yeah.
So,
how much money would be in there if they made like a real gritty horror type fucking Star Wars movie?
So I wouldn't want the budget any more than like $45 to $60 million on the budget. We don't need like $150 million budget for something like that.
No.
So if they marketed it correctly, they'd probably pull in like say 200 worldwide, 250 maybe.
Yeah.
On like a $40 to $50 million budget movie, which is a good return. So.
Right.
That's like that's doubling your money pretty much, because marketing you probably have that up to like 90, so I'd be like 110 like profit, which is great.
So I don't know about you, but I think I'm over Vince McMahon trying to hire us. So now we're going to say, Bob Iger, hire us.
Please.
I mean, we got ideas.
Ideas for days, kid.
Right. Kevin Hart in a Star Wars movie?
Yes, that's genius. I don't need him to have a character. I just want Kevin Hart as Kevin Hart in a Star Wars movie. Right.
And you can even bring back fucking Mace Windu. But have him be Samuel L. Jackson. Not this prim and proper fucking Jedi Master, the bad motherfucker. Because he's pissed. He got his fucking hand cut off, thrown out a fucking window.
Right, and he didn't come back.
Right, but he can in this fucking movie. He could be the master to Kevin Hart's apprentice.
Oh, I want that so bad right now.
Such a good movie. That's what we need. After all the seriousness, of the sequels, and people take these fucking movies so serious, real funny comedy fucking Star Wars movie.
Yeah, because another thing about Rise of Skywalker, I think the comedy worked pretty well. There were some moments, like the cringeworthy moment where they're like, they can fly now. They fly now.
Yeah.
They fly now. Like, that was horrible. Like, I don't understand how that was one of the clips they released to fucking promote the movie. Yeah. But I think the comedy throughout was fucking awesome. Oscar Isaac, I don't think we talked about him yet. Poe Dameron. Give him a quick shout out because I thought this was probably the best he's been in any of the Star Wars movies, and he was the highlight of this one.
Yeah.
Like at the very end, when he was silently speaking to Kerry Russell's character, the lady with the helmet.
Yes.
Like he didn't have to say any words, and he was flirting back and forth with her. We knew exactly what he was saying, what she was saying back to him, and it was fucking hysterical. I loved it.
Oh yeah, his performance in this was great, and they did we've talked about like carrying over stuff from the other movies and things like that. I think his arc is better, not great, of the wily fucking flyboy, taking risk guy up into a more responsible leader type in this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's like if there has been one through line between all three movies, it's that.
Yeah.
That he matures from being reckless and just wanting to be the hero to being someone who can be in charge and be more controlled and down to earth.
Right. They did a beautiful job with that. Finn's development, I think, is second to that because he started off as a real pussy. You know what I mean? And like in both the other movies, and I think he matured a little bit better in this.
Yeah, all four of the main characters being Ray. Actually, I'm just going to give them the actual names: Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac. All four of those actors gave amazing performances in this movie, and like throughout besides Finn in the Last Jedi, which wasn't his fault, it's just he was sent to fucking Canto Bite. I think that they all throughout all three movies gave amazing performances. It's just that some of their arcs didn't really lend themselves to those performances. Like the performances were better than the actual story themselves. So
right, yeah. If you want to put all the trilogies against each other, I must say, and one of the biggest things with Mrs. Sleaze about the original trilogy is the acting. You know what I mean? Because it's it was in the 80s and shit like that, and then she saw the prequels, which she actually really likes.
yeah.
The acting was, we talked about this in past shows. The acting was supposed to be wooden, sort of, in a sense. So you can take that. But I think the acting in this one, with those three, is the best out of all the movies. Including
I'll say those
three.
four because Adam
All
Driver,
those
in my
four.
opinion, Adam Driver is probably the best actor that has been in a Star Wars movie besides Sir Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
So, to defend the original trilogy, I think Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and Alec Guinness gave great performances in A New Hope. Mark Hamill got better, much better after A New Hope.
Yeah,
because George Lucas didn't really like when the first movie was made. He didn't know he was going to have the opportunity to tell the entire story he wanted to tell. So Mark Hamill didn't really have everything to work on and base his character off of, besides what was written for him in the first movie. So once they knew it was going to be a franchise, he came in with more backstory, knew his character better, and then Empire and Return of the Jedi put amazing performances in. So I agree with her that New Hope wasn't the best acted movie by Mr. Hamill, and to a certain extent some of the other characters. But I will give some pushback and say that they did give amazing performances in Empire and Jedi.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But also you have to. It was the time. You know what I mean? There was a certain style of fucking acting in every generation. So I think she looks at that where it's you watch anything from the early '80s, it's that hokey fucking type of acting, and Mark Hamill has made leaps and bounds throughout his career of acting. Even stuff before Star Wars and things like that. It was as opposed to like his performance in Last Jedi, which is probably the best I've ever seen him. He's come a long way. I mean, Harrison Ford has always been Harrison Ford to me. I just think he was born to act.
Because Han Solo was just Indiana Jones in space.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, the acting was much. I shouldn't say much better, but it was very, very good. I'm not taking away from the prequels either. You can say a lot about Hayden Christensen. He does have some stupid lines, but that's not his fault. He's a decent actor. You know, he's not going to win an Academy Award for Revenge of the Sith. You know,
Yeah,
but
no, like he is actually a really good actor. He's been in a lot of good movies after and before the prequels. It's just like you said, he was told to act a certain way, and there's only so much you can do, bitching about sand and how coarse it is.
yeah.
So not his fault. I'm just really glad if the prequels say anything, it's just that George Lucas shouldn't write a script. He should just have a storyboard and then have someone else come in and write the fucking scripts.
Well, that's what made Empire so good. You know what I mean? That he had that professional write
come
in, and he
Yeah,
just
it was Kazan, right? Kazan wrote it. Yeah.
So I mispronounce his name constantly, but I agree 100%. He should have had the story that he had, you know, and just gave it to a writer, you know, because the dialogue and some of the parts was like meh, and shit like that, and you have Ewan McGregor, who is the best part of the prequels, but you could have given him some really good shit, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, and I will say though, no matter who you write, you're not going to give Jar Jar Binks any good lines. So
No, that should have never been in the fucking movie. Or they should have justified it, and he should have died in Attack of the Clones.
instead of giving the emperor his actual position, and handing over the Republic.
Right. It makes you hate the bastard even more. So
Right.
So how would you rank this?
And
Like 1
my
to
overall.
10.
Okay, 1 to 10, I give it 6. 6 out of 10.
I was thinking 6.5, maybe a 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I still, you know, like I said, I've seen it twice, and really good movies that I learned to enjoy, like Last Jedi. You know, when I initially saw it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? But then as I watched it over and over, I got a better feel for it, and I said, okay. You know, I agree with you. It was a good movie. It shouldn't have necessarily been an episodic. That could have been a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, I learned to appreciate that movie and what he was trying to do in that. So I'm going to have to see this a couple more times. Maybe it'll get to an 8.
Yeah, no, it's probably gonna stay a 6 for me. Not like, if anything, maybe a 6.5 if I start enjoying it more. But there's way too many conveniences throughout the movie, unearned moments. Like I said, the acting was amazing, but the script wasn't great. The pacing was amazing, but the storyline wasn't great. So there's just a lot I disliked about this movie. Even though like I said, I enjoyed the first 45 minutes of it, but then they went off the rails towards the end. So,
Yeah.
If anything, it might bump up to a 6.5. I don't see it getting any better than that for me.
Here's a question I heard on a couple of podcasts. So putting everything aside, what'd you think of Palpatine? The look, the fucking, just the feeling, did that give you
I really dug the look. Like, he was missing fingers. Like, his eyes were whited out and stuff like that. Like, it was actually, like, that's probably as close as we're ever going to get to, like, a horror scene in a Star Wars movie, unfortunately. So I really enjoyed the look, but he didn't need to be in this movie if they weren't going to do it correctly. He should have just been a looming figure in the background until the end. And by the way, how does everybody remember the Sith since they've been gone for so long, but no one remembers the Jedi? Like, it's like the Jedi are a myth, but the Sith everyone knows about. Like, how does that make sense?
That was another thing I wanted to talk about, because the Jedi are a myth, but everyone's, the Sith, yeah, we know them.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been an explanation like, okay, well, maybe during the Empire days, like, Palpatine's like, well, I'm part of this religion called the Sith. You know what I mean? And you guys should fucking look out for that, and this is why. But no explanation again, you know?
Well, if you remember back, Palpatine never actually, like, talks to anybody about the Sith except for his apprentice or Luke.
Right.
So, like, he never brings up the Sith, like, during like a Senate meeting or anything like that.
No.
So and he never says like I'm that I've been behind all of this all along, just so I can take over. So I don't even know how like Sith would be in like the zeitgeist, to just normal people, and the Jedi aren't.
Right. And what would have made sense, okay, so you have Snoke, okay? He could be the face of the First Order. But it could have been hinted throughout the other two movies that there was someone above him. You know what I mean? And they didn't even do that. So I loved Palpatine being in this because I just wanted to see him and all that shit, which was great. I think the visual of him was great and all that. I hated the fucking way he died. I thought it was so fucking lackluster. And there was no explanation. It would have been better if all of a sudden fucking, Kylo just reveals like, hey, and Justin's gone, but I'm going to keep talking. If they would have just said, hey, that Kylo knew that Palpatine was behind all this. You cut out there a little. I just kept talking.
Okay. Am I back? I just heard you say I'm gone. So all right. Cool.
Yeah. So I just went on a rant. It would have been better.
No, I heard you. I was still here.
You did? Okay, good.
Yeah. So not only did they just like not explain anything, what they did explain about him and his arc like betrays everything that came before. So so Palpatine was obsessed with immortality, living forever. That was the whole point of him being the Emperor, is so that it can further his cause to figure out how to live forever. And he wants to die in this movie. He sits there and is like, "You must kill me so you can ascend as Empress." Like, no, that betrays the entirety of what Palpatine fucking stands for. And he did it in such a dumb way. He did the whole like twirling the mustache, bad guy, I'm going to explain everything to you, to Rey, that if he didn't do that, she would have killed him like he wanted to. So him actually explaining everything made it so that she wouldn't want to kill him. Like, it just made no sense.
Here's the thing, as I was fucking trying to sleep last night that I thought of, Justin. Call me silly. He's the master manipulator through all these fucking films, right? He literally started the friggin' Civil War just for his own shit. So what if they actually explained, listen up, Bob Iger, we could have made you more billions of dollars. What if he had it in his head, I can't defeat Luke Skywalker. The only way I can defeat Luke Skywalker is to get his father to supposedly kill me, right? Then he's going to go down his own path because he can fucking see all this shit, right? And he subconsciously makes Luke go into fucking hiding so he can fucking rise back up and he can start taking over the fucking galaxy. Something.
That would have been fucking perfect. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the whole crawl with the exposition and stuff like that. Half this movie you could have tossed in that, and then spend more time on that, on explaining that shit and stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, a lot of missed opportunities here.
Yeah, because a lot of what people were saying in a negative sense after they said that McDermott was coming back and Palpatine and all this, and they said, well, that just blows fucking Return of the Jedi out of the fucking equation now. Because the whole point of Return of the Jedi at the end, and if not the entire original series, is that you had Vader, the ultimate bad guy, you find out he has a son, sort of makes him start getting all fucking gushy inside, and then at the end he was redeemed because he saved his son by killing Palpatine. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, he didn't kill Palpatine? I guess that was fucking pointless.
Well, no. So I've heard people say stuff like that, and I've also heard, because he was the chosen one in the prequels, and apparently him killing the Emperor was him bringing balance to the Force and validating the prophecy that he was supposed to be that Anakin was supposed to be the chosen one. You had generations of peace after the Emperor, after Vader killed the Emperor. So just because...
No, you didn't. Not to interrupt you. There's the Aftermath books. The war continued, and then all of a sudden, once that started getting down, the First Order came. So the whole fucking Chosen One is out the window.
well, is Aftermath's canon or Legends?
No, that's canon.
Oh shit! All right, never mind. Fuck me.
Yeah, like the Battle of Jakku and all that shit. That's one of the biggest things. And like when JJ was coming out, when they started filming this and all that, he said, I'm gonna stay true to the fucking prequels and the original trilogy. Everything's gonna come together. But they basically took, like, to me, two of the major fucking points in this entire saga and just threw it out the fucking window. Because if you think about it, Anakin didn't really do anything. The only thing he did was stop Palpatine for a little bit, and he didn't bring balance to the Force. If you really look at it, Rey and fucking Kylo brought balance to the Force. And if anybody, Rey did. And she's a Palpatine. So, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I enjoyed a lot of the movie. I enjoyed like the first like half or maybe 3/4 of the movie until it went off the rails for me. But it's horrible planning all throughout the entire trilogy, but especially in this one, it just didn't make any sense. There's a lot of gaps, a lot of holes, a lot of conveniences that happen throughout the movie. Like, oh, I need this to happen, so I want to make it happen. But I don't want. I know most of this has been negative, but I just do want to reiterate that that there were things I did really enjoy about the movie. But as a whole, I left very, very dissatisfied. It's the first time I walked out of a movie dissatisfied for Star Wars. Besides, actually, no. Even when I first saw Attack of the Clones, because like one of the last scenes was a great fight scene.
Yeah.
So I actually left there, even though retroactively I hate that movie. I actually left there with a better feeling than I left with Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
The Last Jedi, I walked out not totally satisfied, but I knew I just watched a really good movie. I can't even say this about this one.
No, and I agree. I mean, there were fun parts. I was making hand gestures and all that shit during the movie. But then when you sit there and you fucking, I don't know, I guess you're alone with your thoughts, you're like, wait a minute, there was a lot of shit that didn't make sense. And that's the part that disappoints me, because it was just like, I don't feel there was a whole story told, through these sequels. I just, they got you so excited for The Force Awakens, and that was a good movie, and that was a Star Wars movie to me, and it felt good to watch that one, even though there was a lot of, retreading of A New Hope in that. It still had a Star Wars feeling, and then this one, it's just, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish. That's my final thing in the end, is what were you trying to accomplish? Because all I can think is that they were like, let's get these fucking movies out of here. And get the Skywalker shit away, and let's start some new stuff, because we bought this fucking company.
I think so. I agree with you that I don't think there was an actual reason. Like there was really no. This didn't really serve the larger Star Wars Skywalker saga story.
No.
It didn't solve anything. It didn't further anything. But I do think they walked in with good intentions. It just unraveled. And we've seen the unraveling happen, like I said, with the dissension between The Last Jedi, Colin Trevorrow being taken off movies, Lord and Miller being taken off movies and stuff like that. Reworking the end, even though I liked the end of it, of Rogue One. It was supposed to be a much darker end for that movie rather than what it was.
Everyone
but they
died. How much darker you gonna get?
Leading up to that. It was supposed to be a much darker movie.
Yeah.
Like the whole beach sequence and stuff like that. It was supposed to be much different apparently, but they had to change it.
Like body parts.
Yeah, exactly. Like more
Nice.
like it was supposed to be essentially the D-Day scene, the beach scene from Saving Private Ryan, but in Star Wars.
Oh wow. Yeah, that would have been good.
Something along those lines, but yeah, this really did nothing to. It really served no purpose.
Yeah.
Good intentions just went downhill.
Right. Well, I think that's all we got. I think we are negative enough, to get our point across.
I know, I feel so bad. If because obviously everyone at Disney is a big fan of ours, so I just want to say I appreciate the work you guys put in, and the actors did an amazing job. But it's how I feel about the movie, guys.
Yeah. Well, then, this is our inaugural first episode of Justin and the Sleaze. And I hope you guys enjoyed. There will be more to come.
And if you want anything spoken about in particular, DM me or DM the Sleaze, and we can see if we can make a show about that moving forward.
Right. And we're not, obviously we were co-hosts and we're not hosts, so this is going to be bumpy in the beginning. But we are fucking professionals, and we're famous.
Yes, we are.
So you can go ahead.
Oh, and I just want to say to those of you who followed us here from the Dr. Hugenstein show, Sleaze has made it be known that he's not going to be on the show anymore. I still have to talk to the doc. I'm planning on hopping on every once in a while to the Dr. Hugenstein show, so you can still see me there as well. Still talk to Doc about that and see what his plans are moving forward. But I'm really looking forward to talking about all my geeky shit and really good movies that I see throughout the year. So looking forward to this new venture that me and the Sleaze got going on.
Yeah, and it's pretty, it's going to be a lot of movie stuff, but, there's other shit we're going to talk to. We're not really holding ourselves down to one subject.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
So, well, thank you for viewing. You can find Justin on Twitter at Y2JustinCredible, of course, without the E. And I am at the Sleaze52. This is Justin and the Sleaze saying adieu. I'm not going to use that. I'm gonna try it.
Wait.
I'm going to try a different one.
Can that be our log off? Can that be canon?
I control the editing. We got to come up with a good punchline at the end.
Yeah, like that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Reminds me of the Bruce Almighty scene where he's trying to come up with a nice sign off.
That's how the ball bounces.
And that's the way. I like it.
Maybe that's what we should do, is come up with a different one every time.
Until next time, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen out there, appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, even though he's a chauvinistic pig and he doesn't want women here.